Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this class. Today, inshallah, we are going to have the 21st lesson. And the topic of this lesson is comparing adjectives. If you can hear me, please type number 1. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much. It seems that the website still having some problems. Anyway, this lesson was prepared by Mr. Faisal Al-Fresh and will be presented by Hattan Fadil. So let's move on. Here are the aims or the objectives of this lesson: to present uses of comparative and superlative forms of adjectives, introducing the adjectives of degree, irregular forms, expand the knowledge of making and seeking and asking questions, to prepare to answer the activity about the lesson, and let's move on. See this conversation between these two guys. This guy says, I like this one, which is 20,000, I think, pounds. He says, I like this one. And his friend says, it's more expensive than this one. This is cheaper. Look, you always want the most expensive. Well, I'm not going to buy the cheapest car here. From this conversation, we have two forms of comparing objects. The first one is using more, and the other one is by adding er. We usually use more with long adjectives, and we use er with short adjectives. And here is the superlative form, which is most. This is the most expensive among the 4 cars, okay? So most expensive, but this car is the cheapest. So this is a superlative form as well for the adjective cheap. For example, if we want to compare between these 4 cars, we would say, for example, this car, for example, comparing to this, is cheap, but the red car is cheaper, but the white car is the cheapest. And if we want to, for example, change this comparison, we are going to say this car is expensive comparing to this car. This car is expensive. This car is more expensive, but this car is the most expensive. So let's move on. Comparing adjectives, as well as serving as modifying words like beautiful and big. Adjectives are also used for indicating the position on a scale of comparison. The lowest point on the scale is known as the absolute form. The middle point is known as the comparative form, and the highest point is known as the superlative form. Before moving to the example, here are the 3 scales. The superlative is the highest value. The middle point is the comparative form. And the lowest point on the scale is the absolute. So for example, small, smaller, smallest. Okay, so small is the adjective, smaller is the comparative form, and absolute is smallest, the lowest point of our comparison. Here are some examples. This book is long. This is the absolute. The book is longer than, this book is longer than that book. This is the comparative form. Long, longer. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The superlative form is this is the longest book. Okay, the longest book. Example number 2. The airport is far. This is the absolute. The airport is farther than the train station, and this is the comparative form. We use ER or more, okay? The superlative form says, this is the farthest airport. Let's check the third example. My mom is a good cook. This is the absolute. My mom is a better cook than your mom. So better, because good is an irregular adjective. My mom is the best cook. So this is the superlative form, okay? Let's move on. When two objects or persons are being compared, it means when we compare two objects or two persons, the comparative form of the adjective is used. So we use only the comparative with more or ER. The comparative adjective can be formed in two ways. Number 1, adding ER to the absolute form of the adjective. Number 2, adding the word more before the adjective. For example, my essay is longer than yours. We used ER, and then she is more beautiful than her sister. We used the word more to compare between the two sisters, okay? So let's move on. Superlatives. Now we are going to have the superlative. The superlative is used to say what thing or person has the most of a particular quality within a group or of its kind. The superlative can be formed in two ways. Number 1, adding est to the absolute form of the adjective, and number 2, adding the word most before the adjective. Here are examples. This is the most beautiful dress I have ever seen. We have added most before the adjective beautiful because it is a long adjective. The biggest table in the room. We have added est to the adjective big because it is a short adjective. Doubling the last letter because it comes after a vowel and it is a 3 letters word. Now we move on. Sorry. Positive form. Positive, positive and negative, okay? The positive form is used in cases where there are no differences between the two compared things or persons. To form the positive, we use the word as before and after the absolute form of the adjective. For example, Danny is as smart as Philip. The second example is she is as beautiful as her older sister. We use this form when we have two objects with the same value. This can also be applied in a negative context to indicate that the compared objects are not similar. For example, an object is bigger than the other, or smaller, taller, more beautiful, or whatever. They are not the same. We use this form. Danny is not as smart as Philip. Okay, maybe for example, in this sentence, for example, Philip seems to be the smartest here. Okay, so it means that Philip is smarter than Danny, but we say Danny is not as smart as Philip. Example number 2. She is not as beautiful as her older sister. Just to make sure that you have got the idea, I would ask you, which of the sisters is more beautiful? The first one, she is, or the older sister? Who's the more, okay, the older sister? Okay, it means that, yes, she is not as beautiful as her older sister. So the older sister seems to be more beautiful. You got it, guys? If you got it, type number 1, please. I want to make sure. Today we are only 5 students. Ahmed, Munir, Salam, Anas, and Hassan. Okay, no problem. Thank you for your responses. Let's move on. Okay, exceptions. Exceptions. Irregular forms. Irregular forms. Certain adjectives have irregular forms in the comparative and superlative degrees. For example, good, bad, little, much, many, some. These are irregular adjectives. Do you have any more adjectives, irregular adjectives? We just had one. The second, no, the third slide. Do you remember it? Far, yes, Ahmed, good job. So, okay, the absolute form for the adjective good is better. Oh, sorry, the absolute, good is the absolute form here. The comparative form of the absolute adjective good is better. The superlative form is best, bad, worse, worst, little, less, least. For example, let me use your names. Ahmed has little water in his glass. Munir has less water than Ahmed in his glass. But Salam has the least water in his glass. Much, many, or some. These 3 adjectives. The comparative form for these 3 adjectives is more. For example, let me choose from the bottom. Hassan has many pens. Anas has more pens than Hassan, but Salam has the most pens, okay, among the three of them, okay? Okay, good job. So you got it, guys? Okay, let's move on. Examples of comparing adjectives. Comparing adjectives, okay? This house is bigger than that one. Bigger, we used ER. This flower is more beautiful than that. He is taller than Mr. Hollis. He is more intelligent than this boy. Jonathan is the most handsome man on campus. This is the prettiest dress in the window. I lost my most comfortable shoes. Most comfortable. Okay. My job is worse than yours. And here we already had so many types of adjectives: long, short, regular, irregular adjectives. Let's move on. Okay. Here is an activity. Complete the sentences. Use the correct form of the adjectives below. Who is? Can you translate the word me bigger? What is that? Munir, translate. Munir, let me tell you something. I can't translate it for you. You must have it in English all the time. Welcome, Mr. Abdullah. It's prohibited to translate words into Arabic. Only English must be used anyway. Who is able to read? I want someone to read to read and answer. Big, bigger. Small, smaller. Bigger is the opposite of the word small. Big, bigger. Biggest. Small, smaller. Smallest. Okay, Ahmed, you want to do the first one? Okay, no problem. Let me give you access to the microphone. It is prohibited, Munir, to translate in Arabic, into Arabic, and it is prohibited also to type in Arabic. So please, type in English only. Ahmed, I'm trying to activate your microphone now. Thank you, Munir, for understanding. Good evening, Ahmed. How are you? Ahmed, can you hear me? Hello? Ahmed, I can't hear you. It seems that you are having a hardware problem. Sorry, Ahmed. We couldn't hear anything. Who else wants to participate? I want you to read the first question and answer it, please. Who is able to do so? Wa alaikum assalam. Welcome, Adham. I will do it myself. Okay, no problem. The downtown area is usually blank than the suburbs. Yeah, you can write, it's okay. Go ahead. The downtown area is usually than the suburbs. More noisy. Noisy. Okay. More noisy. Okay. Not noisier. Noisy. Noisy. Noisier. More noisy. What do you think, Ahmed? What do you think, guys? Munir, Salam, Anas, Hassan, and Adham. Is it noisier or more noisy? Is it a long adjective or a short one? Hello, guys. Can you hear me? More noisy. You know, I'm gonna tell you a trick. If you put your hand under your chin, put your hand under your chin and pronounce the word noisy. Noisy. Count how many times your chin goes down, and then you can decide if it is a long or a short adjective. In other words, oh, Salam, good, you did that. In other words, I want you to check how many syllables are there in the word noisy. Noisy. Okay. I'm gonna consider your answer, and I will move to number 2. The hospitals in cities are usually blank than ones in the country. What do you think of this? Good. Are usually better? Better? Good job. Better. With double T. Good salam. Okay. Public transportation is blank at night than during the day. More frequent or frequenter? Frequent. Do the trick. Is it long or most? Okay. More. Okay, no problem. Anas, I will consider your answer. Ahmed and Salam, I will consider your answers as well. My hometown has the blank air of all the towns in this country. Has the clean. What do you think, guys? Most. Ahmed, most. Ahmed said most. Ahmed, did you do the trick? Did you put your hand under your chin? Say clean. Most. Hassan as well. What do you think, guys? Most clean. Most. Good job. Cleaner. Salam. It is. They are not only two objects. My hometown and the rest of the towns in the country. So they are more than two. We can't use ER, cleaner, between cleanest. Cleanest. So you changed your mind, Ahmed. You changed your mind, Anas as well. Okay, no problem. You can always change your mind. At least we haven't seen the next slide. Many people say that Sao Paulo has the blank traffic in the world. See? Sao Paulo and the world. How many cities are there in the world? So many. So worst. Salam said worst. Ahmed, worst. Okay. The subway is blank at rush hour than at other times. Crowded. Crowded. More crowded or crowdeder? more أحمد and Hassan. Okay. Munir, are you there? I don't see you answering. And Anas as well. Okay, no problem. Housing is usually blank in the country than in the city. Expensive, more expensive, or expensiver, or most expensive. Okay, Ahmed, Munir as well. More. So everyone, yeah, I want everyone to participate. So I think yes, housing is usually more expensive in the country than in the city. I don't know. This answer might be correct. Number 8. The cost of living in small towns is usually blank than in big cities. Is usually cheaper. Okay, good job, guys. And you know the meaning of this thing over here? The cost of living. You know the meaning of cost of living? For example, when you live in Jeddah, for example, if you are a single man living in Jeddah, the cost of living is around maybe 4,000. This is the cost of living in Jeddah. But if you live in Yumba, for example, it will be like 2,900. So this is the cost of living, okay? How much you have to pay monthly. Okay, so let's check the answers. Here are the answers. The downtown area is usually noisier than the suburbs. Who answered this question? I think Ahmed did. Or Adham, and he left. Okay, no problem. No one said noisier. They said more noisy. Really? Okay. The hospitals in cities are usually better. Everyone answered this correctly. Better. So here is a star. I'm gonna put it this way here. Okay. Public transportation is less frequent because they are talking. Okay, I will tell you why. Now, check this. Public transportation. You know, public transportation, they mean buses, metro, the underground, I mean. Public transportation is less frequent, and taxis as well. Less frequent at night. Which is busier, at night or during the day? Which is busier? Busier? Day or night? You know, day, it means when you can see the sun. Night is at night. Which is busier? Day or night? Night is busier? Really? Interesting. People are getting out of their jobs. They are going home in the daytime. But at night, it is not as busy as the morning. Yeah, the day. Exactly, Ahmed. So here is the comparison from the other view. public transportation is less frequent at night than during the day. It means not as busy as the day. Okay, number 4. My hometown has the cleanest, and everyone answered this correctly, so you are going to have this little star over here. And then many people say that Sao Paulo has the worst traffic in the world, and everyone answered this correctly as well, so we are going to have a little star over here. And then the subway is blank, which is the subway is more crowded at rush hour than at other times, and everyone answered this correctly as well. Housing is usually more expensive in the country than in the city. No, you have answered this in the wrong way. Housing is usually more expensive in the country. You know the meaning of the word country? Country here is not like Saudi Arabia. Country means the suburb. You know what I mean with suburb? For example, Jeddah is a city, right or not? Is it a city or not? It is a city. Jeddah is a city. But what about Bahra? It's the country. So Bahra is smaller than Jeddah. Like in Riyadh, for example. Riyadh is a big city. Rumah is the country. So it's gonna be like cheaper to live in a country than a city. You got it, guys? Okay. So less expensive, it means cheaper. You know the negative? Less expensive, it means cheaper. The cost of living in a small towns is usually cheaper than in big cities. Okay, guys? And everyone answered this correctly. So we should have the little star over here, and everyone did a great job. Thank you for participating, guys. You have done a great job. So let's move on. Let's move on. Hey guys, are you having difficulties connecting? I don't know. Okay, this is the summary for our lesson. Buses are fast. Bus tickets are expensive. Trains, okay, let's have them row by row. Buses are fast. Trains are faster than buses. Planes are the fastest. This is the comparative form and this is the superlative form. Bus tickets are expensive. Train tickets are more expensive. Plane tickets are the most expensive. So here we had the two forms, the short adjectives and the long adjectives. Buses are less expensive than taxis. See, this is the other way of comparing, okay? This is the other way. Buses are less expensive than taxis, but the subway is the least expensive way to travel. Irregular forms, good, better, the best, bad, worse, the worst. Comparison with as, blank as adjective as. Use as, adjective as, to say that two things are the same or different. You can use just for emphasize, to emphasize your idea. In Japan, trains are as expensive as planes. As expensive as, it means that they are both expensive. This hostel is just as comfortable as the hotel, and it doesn't cost as much. Yeah, same. Good job, Salam. Our neighborhood isn't, so it means is not. Our neighborhood isn't as noisy as our old one. So our newer neighborhood is not noisy like the old one. And it isn't as dangerous as the old one as well. But you don't have to repeat as our old one because you have mentioned that here. If you understand, type number 1, please. Salam, thank you so much. Anas and Ahmed. Okay, thank you so much. Munir, you guys made my day. Though we are only 5 here, but actually you were all great. You have participated and made my day. Okay, let's move to the next slide. This is the end of this lesson. Thank you for reading, listening, and participating. Feel free to ask any questions.